Now in this problem, we're dealing with an electric utility company who's going to build a plant. And they're worried or considering the kind of the pollution impacts of it. And they either mitigate the problem by investing more money into the plant now, an extra $40 million, from which they would get about $4 million additional cash inflow per year. Or they can do nothing. They've got the permits, they can build the plant without mitigation. Now, part one of this problem, we went through the process and we found that if they do nothing, the project has a positive net present value and its rate of return is greater than the cost of capital, which is 17%. The second part now, what happens if they mitigate the problem, that is they make the investment to curb the air pollution. Well, if they do that, the project's not going to cost $240 million, it's going to cost $280 million, an additional $40 million. And for that, they get an additional $4 million a year in cash inflow. So instead of getting $80 million a year, they get $84 million a year. If we're going to calculate net present value, we want to find the present value of the inflows and subtract the present value of the outflows, the initial investment, the cost of the project. The inflow is $84 million a year, received every year for 5 years, and the cost of capital is 17%. Your PVIFA at 5 and 17% is 3.1993. 84 million times 3.1993 is the present value of the inflows. Subtract from that the present value of the outflows, 280 million, and you find that there's the net present value is a negative $11,258,800. So if you mitigated the issue, what would happen is that the value of the firm, the wealth of the shareholders, would go down by $11,258,800. You wouldn't want to do that if you're a financial manager. Calculating the internal rate of return, it's the interest rate that sets the present value of the inflows equal to the present value of the outflows. If you solve for the interest factor, 280 million divided by 84 million, you get 3.3333, which if you go to your PVIFA table and go down the left-hand column again, find n equal to 5, go across and you find an interest factor of 3.3333, you find that it's approximately, the internal rate of return is approximately 15%. If you want to do this on your calculator, present value is where you put the cost, it'd be a negative $280 million. Payment is where you put the cash inflows, which is an annuity. The value of the annuity, $84 million a year for 5 years. Solve for I, and you get 15.2382%, which is less than the cost of capital, which means you would reject the project because not only is it less than the cost of capital, but when that's the case, the project will always have a negative net present value, which means you're reducing the value of the firm.